Hey everyone, Tin Man here, back with the 7th and final part of the big update preview for Dota Underlords. Today we're going to meet ANESSIX, the second Underlord character to be introduced into the game. ANESSIX is a demonic puppet master who summons demons to fight on her behalf. She has a passive ability just like Hobgen yesterday. ANESSIX generates hype passively with an additional amount for each allied demon on the board. She also summons a companion to fight at her side. Presumably this companion is a demon. She has two abilities, Martyr's Boon. ANESSIX will take damage equal to a percentage of her maximum health and provide allied units with healing. So it's kind of she sacrifices her health to heal up everybody on your team. She also has a damaging ability called Pure Pain. ANESSIX targets a random enemy and deals pure damage continuously for a short duration. So this kind of keeps with the theme of the Underlords kind of having two different approaches. They're not just kind of doubling down on the same thing. You've got this one healing effect and you also have a damage dealing effect. Whereas kind of Hobgen had a buff effect and a damaging effect. So I like this kind of split attention. So it's not just, oh, this one Underlord does this one thing and only this one thing. She also has some ultimate abilities. She has Enthrall as one option at round 20, where ANESSIX will mark a target for her army, forcing them to attack it. If that target dies, ANESSIX, sorry, it's going to be getting used to pronouncing that, ANESSIX brings them back as a demon to fight for her. The other option is Summon Demonic Golem, where it's pretty simple. She just calls in an unholy favor and summons a demonic golem. Presumably that's at the start of the fight, so she'll have two companions, the one that she naturally summons, plus this golem who's presumably going to be much more powerful. And I think this is a pretty interesting design. You've got kind of a summoning theme, and you've got a demon theme. Unlike Hobgen, who really has no preference to what units you're going to be picking up. I mean, maybe the preference will develop over time, but based on just reading Hobgen's abilities, we didn't see anything that's like, oh, I want to play warriors, or I want to play knights, or I want to play X or Y or Z with them. Whereas here with ANESSIX, it's very clear you want to be playing demons. Now that's that kind of steps on the toes a little bit of the fact that these Underlords are supposed to be playable in every composition, and maybe you're not supposed to be super heavily favored one way or another. I was really hoping that they would try to keep Underlords very general, very broadly applicable, like we saw with Hobgen. Here, with this preference towards demons, we might see ANESSIX preferentially want to go with Demon Hunters, because that's the easiest way to play multiple demons with Terrorblade and Anti-Mage. But really, demons are generic enough. You see demons show up in basically every composition, at least one of. You know, you get one in Warriors with either Doom, in Warlocks with the Shadow Fiend, Assassins with Queen of Pain, and then Mages can even generally play Queen of Pain or Shadow Fiend to pretty good effect. And we'll also be getting some new demons in here with Shadow Demon this set. So I don't really think that this is something as narrow. I'd be much more concerned, I'll say, if this ANESSIX ability was for the number of hunters you have on your board, right? Where it's like very clearly this is the hunter's Underlord. And I think that would be a little bit too narrow and a little bit too shoehorning you into a certain build. I think demons are generally vague enough, even if there's a slight preference towards elusive compositions that can run Anti-Mage effectively along with Terrorblade, but in reality those can be put into a lot of different builds. Let's take a look at some of her other talents that you'll be choosing from throughout the game. There's going to be over 20 of them, but here we just see some previews of them. We've got Exploit Weakness, ANESSIX Companion, that's the demons she summons, and presumably also the summoned demonic golem. Their attacks will break the target for 3 seconds. And now break means that it will disable their passive effects. So if they have a passive effect like Drow Ranger or Slark, their aura, then the attacks from this unit will disable that. It's a pretty interesting ability. We're seeing much more break effects in this new crop of characters. Previously, the only way to disable passives was on Doom and his ability aptly called Doom. And now we're going to be seeing it on ANESSIX a couple of times here actually, and then on Nyx Assassin, a new assassin we talked about a few days back. Another ability, Transfusion. This is a modification to her Pure Pain. That's the damage dealing ability. ANESSIX and her companions heal for the same amount of damage done by Pure Pain. And so that's going to increase the healing, increase the survivability, which is important because she has an ability that costs her life total. So any ways to get that health total back is probably advisable to keep her in the fight longer and just keep her dealing the damage and doing the healing. We've got Phantom Pain. Your army gains +2 armor per level while an enemy is affected by pure pain. And now this is a short channel, so you're only going to get this armor buff very temporarily. And since most of the game is probably going to be fought in the range of level 6 to level 8 or maybe level 9, you're looking at a 12 to 18-ish armor buff for a short duration. I couldn't tell you how long, it doesn't say, but if that's for a couple seconds, that really helps to keep your army at just, that'll affect everybody on your team, to keep them alive for a little bit longer, to survive maybe a burst damage AoE if you can time it up perfectly, that it at the time of, like, say, a Beastmaster's Wild Axes, when it's a big chunk of physical damage to your team, that extra armor will be very, very helpful. Of course, that's pretty hard to coordinate properly, but you can see where that would be very useful. You've also got one that modifies Martyr's Boon. That's the healing effect. Friendly units affected by Martyr's Boon break their killers for the rest of the fight. So if you are losing the fight, or your guys are dying, or whatever it may be, you have more and more ways to break the enemy and reduce their passives. So we might see, with ANESSIX being a very critical part of the meta, because everybody's going to have one of these Underlords, we may see a move away from some of these more passive-oriented units that have important passives that the break would disrupt, and maybe more on units who have better active effects, or just individually strong units that don't rely on those type of abilities. So overall, I think ANESSIX is a pretty cool design that we're going to see exactly how it all shakes out. Hobgin seemed like very Pyromaniac-y, and now ANESSIX kind of fits the theme of this, like, summoner, succubus, warlock type of combo with the summons of units. Wants you to play more demons. Once again, I'm a little skeptical that maybe this might favor multiple demon strategies a little bit more than most, but we'll have to see exactly how that plays out in practice. But other than that, that is it. That is no more updates. As I mentioned before, this is the final update, or preview of the big update. They are going to be shipping the big update as soon as they get the green light on all the platforms. Typically, that means that they're going to be doing this update once like Apple lets them get it out through mobile on the iOS, as well as Google on Android store. So that would generally take within a day. I've heard that it's been delayed, hours to a day. So this to me means that this is almost certainly shipping tomorrow at some point on Thursday. So I'm really excited. That's kind of what we expected, but we're going to be seeing this big update come. Presumably there's also going to be other full patch notes that covers maybe some balance changes or some other tweaks and some more details on a lot of these things. But I'm really excited to jump into all this, especially play with the new Underlords, play with all the new units, and I cannot wait to do that, hopefully tomorrow. So I will see you then. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you next time.